Oh, now here's an inflammatory subject. Don't shoot me, I'm just the messenger. And before you leave a bad comment, please take the time to watch this video. There is method to my madness. Hi guys, and welcome to Piano and Keyboard Artist, where we discuss the artists related to pianos, keyboards, and synthesizers. Now, in my most recent upload, which was this video, I invited you to make your suggestions in who you thought are the most outstanding lead singers or frontmen in electronic music. In that video, I asked you to leave the names of 5 people, 5 men who you thought were the most iconic, outstanding frontmen in the history of electronic music. And as I say, later on we're going to do one for the female artists as well. But if you haven't watched that video, please watch it and get involved, because as I say, once we have your suggestions taken on board, we're going to form a poll, and then from that poll I will be able to determine, you know, who you guys rate as the top 10 electronic music frontmen of all times, and we will then release a video where I will count them down from 10 all the way down to 1. And as I say, this is really dependent on your feedback, as is most of the content on this channel. Now, after reading the comments in the description below on that video, and of course a lot of the videos that I make here will spill over onto the Vaughn George Facebook group, where the debate is kind of continued. And a lot of names, a lot of you said Dave Vaughn, Midge Orr's name has come up a lot, Andy Bell's, as has Trent Reznor, as has Gary Newman's. Very, very fascinating. There's a few names that have popped up that have, you know, surprised me. But as I say, this is your poll, and you know, I wish to respect your input. Now, a name that popped up quite frequently was Bernard Sumner from New Order, and with his name popping up also came along the comments from other people saying, well, New Order are great, but Bernard Sumner can't sing. And you know, yeah, New Order, yeah, Bernard Sumner's Bernard Sumner, he's not a great singer, as some of you said, and that is why I thought I would make a video focusing on the Bernard Sumner's voice, if you want to talk about it. Now, you guys know that on this channel I'm always banging on about sincerity, and I always say that sincerity is something we seem to have lost somewhere along the way. Not in all genres, but certainly in the mainstream. If you look at the sort of level of intelligence behind mainstream music these days, I've probably got no right to say that because I don't really focus on it. I've kind of lost interest in mainstream music many years ago. However, I am very aware of the fact that there is still great music out there, and I'm always happy to people sending me new music, because maybe it's just my taste, but as you guys know, and if you're on this channel, you'll probably agree with me that life isn't fair, and a lot of the best music out there will never make it to the mainstream. But anyway, that is a separate subject. Now, coming on to Bernard Sumner, when people say he can't sing, I can see where you're coming from. So I'm going to just sort of address some of the points that have been made, not only in the forums, but also some of the comments I've heard about Bernard Sumner over the years, and indeed my feelings as well. Right, so when you say Bernard Sumner can't sing, I mean, that is a very debatable and very ambiguous statement. It comes down really to being a singer or being an artist. Now, we don't talk about shit shows like Britain's Got Talent and the X Factor and all those shit shows that go on. Unfortunately, these Simon Cowell, and I don't know who the American equivalents are, these shows are really rammed down the throats of the mainstream, and they really are sort of dumbing down what people think of, you know, what a real artist is. Now, I'm going to try hard not to go off topic here, but let me just say this, and I've said this in previous videos. If David Bowie was a young unsigned artist and he went and stood in front of, you know, the Britain's Got Talent or the fucking X Factor cast, host like Simon Cowell and those bunch of clowns, Um, if an unsigned David Bowie stood there and sang, I don't think he'd get through. Lou Reed would never get through. Bernard Sumner wouldn't get through. Neil Tennant wouldn't get through. Gary Newman wouldn't get through. All the artists that I deem to be great artists, if they stood in front of Simon Cowell, if they were unsigned, they would not get through. So where am I going with this? I'm basically saying is there is a difference between being a singer and being an artist. Very often you get great singers, and they just don't do it for me. I'm not going to mention any names here, but there are those names out there who are the great singers, and people go, oh, his voice, oh, her voice, oh, it's amazing. And I'm just going, yeah, and yeah. And then, of course, those people who like that kind of great singing voice, they will listen to music like Depeche Mode or New Order, and they'll go, oh, God, he can't sing. He's so out of tune. And yes, but there is sincerity. And I'm always banging on about sincerity. It is not about having a perfect voice. And this is something I bang on this channel. It's something I bang on when I'm coaching students. A very funny subject is if I've coached people before, people who are sort of trying to find themselves, and they come to you because they want the answers. And my strategy is very much like a Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid. The Karate Kid comes to Mr. Miyagi because he wants to learn how to do karate, and Mr. Miyagi goes, Daniel-san, you paint fence. After that, you wash car, wax on, wax off. And if you've watched the Karate Kid, and you should, you will know that Daniel gets very pissed off and he goes, Mr. Miyagi, I've come here to learn karate. Why am I painting fences? And then, of course, the madness behind Miyagi becomes apparent, and he goes to show that Daniel-san, it's all about balance, and the fundamentals that you apply in painting a fence and the disciplines and fundamentals you apply to waxing on and waxing on a car, these are all universal principles that shine through and make you a better fighter. Now, I don't want to get too philosophical, but there is a reason that I am expressing these insights. And that is when people have come to me before, despite the genre they're trying to break into, I would say, okay, your homework for lesson 1 is to go and listen to this song, and I'll give them a song. And then they're confused. It's the song Juice Newton. Just call me the angel of the morning, angel. Or I will give them lesson 2. Go and listen to this. This is The Arrival from ABBA. And they'll be like, Vaughn, I'm trying to be an EDM artist here. Why the fuck are you giving me ABBA to listen to? The point I'm trying to make here is a lot can be learned from those artists from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and there are still great artists around who are not getting the attention, but they had sincerity. And I'm bringing this back to Bernard Sumner. Yes, Bernard Sumner is not a technically gifted singer. I was listening to Electronics. I've been getting away with it all my life. Watch that, actually, and just listen to the opening lines of Bernard Sumner. I was like, oh my God, that is so out of tune. Now, this brings me to another thing which is slightly off topic, and this is something I discussed with Dave Bascombe when I interviewed him. If you haven't watched that interview, click on the link below and you should watch that. Dave Bascombe has also said that music these days is so produced that our ears almost cannot recognize what a human voice actually sounds like. As I say, modern production has become so pristine and so soulless to a point where, and I'm not against technology because I use a lot of technology myself, but what I'm trying to say is tools like auto-tune and pitch correction and timing correction, all those things, they are tools there to be used. But I found that those tools over the years have become overused, almost to the form that they've almost abused. But then through abusing those tools, they become like they've almost formed a new fundamental sound that the sort of the music public expect to hear. And one of the things with the overuse of technology is the overuse of auto-tune or tuning software, and that has filtered through even into rock and even into jazz and even music genres that aren't electronic. The reality and the fact is, my friends, is that we are so used to hearing music that is so overproduced and so perfectly tuned that we have forgotten what a real voice sounds like. That is why when you listen to a lot of artists singing live these days, you might think, oh my God, they're out of tune. And then I'm going, no, they're not out of tune. It's just that we are so, we've been so programmed over the last, especially the last 10 years and especially the last 5 years with modern production. It's so pristinely executed and lead vocals are so tuned to perfection that we have forgotten what a human voice sounds like. And in that over tuning of the vocal, a lot of the character is taken out of the voice. Now, as I say, it's hard for me not to go off topic here, but you guys in my community here understand me. And I'm bringing it back to Bernard Sumner now. A lot of records, even if you listen to some of the great 70s divas and stuff, you'd listen to it and you go, oh my God, I didn't realize how out of tune that was. Not out of tune, but it's not perfectly in tune. We are just so used to perfectly in tune music these days, unfortunately. Now, coming back to Bernie Sumner, I did see a recent live recording of theirs, which was recorded about 2 years ago. I was just like, oh, Bernie, oh, mate, that is so out of tune. And even on some of the records, but it's not just Bernard Sumner. Even if you listen to some of the old Soft Cell records, Hello, Say Goodbye, great song. It's only when you listen back to it now and you go, oh my God, that's a little bit not perfectly in tune. And I blame modern production because we are used to such pristine sounding stuff these days. Anyway, get back onto topic. Okay, so Bernie Sumner, what he lacks in sort of like vocal strength. I mean, he hasn't got a very impressive range. I would say he's not what you call a natural singer. A natural singer is someone like a God forbid, Michael Bublé, that kind of, he's got that perfect voice, but it's just like, it's just vomit inducing. And I just can't listen to him. And you can see where people that like certain types of music are not going to really appreciate vocalists like Bernard Sumner. What I'm saying about Bernie is what he lacks in technical perfection as a singer, he makes up for with style and sincerity. And there are many other artists like that. I mean, think of Gary Newman. I mean, that's a strange voice. Oh my God, that's a very strange voice. But the moment Gary Newman opens his mouth, it's like, that's Gary Newman. And it's the same with Bernard Sumner. When he opens his mouth, it's Bernard Sumner. And, we can debate until the cows come home, would New Order have sounded better with a better sounding lead singer? Well, let's not even go there, because we know, even like if we get philosophical, if we take bands like the Beatles, the individual members were not the best musicians, but put them together and they are greater than the sum of their parts. And we see that with all great bands. And that is why if you watch cabaret bands, usually, the individual members are usually very often incredibly talented and schooled musicians, and they've been schooled to a very high standard. And then when you put these cabaret musicians together and they do a cover of something, it usually sounds sterile and bland and soulless. It's because it's like the progressive rock. It's when it's just overplayed to such a high level, and a lot of the sincerity and the beauty in music, the music that we love, comes from the flaws, comes from that ropiness, that slight note that's a bit out and a bit off, and that vocal that is a little bit out of tune, but it has the sincerity and the meaning to it. I mean, I was even listening to some Nine Inch Nails the other day, some early Nine Inch Nails, and you go, oh, well, that's a bit out of tune, but it's the sincerity and the emotion that is captured, and that is what is so much more important than hitting all the high notes, Michael Bublé style and all that cheesy cabaret shite that, anyway. I shouldn't knock other people's stuff, but I do get a bit annoyed when people say like, oh, Bernard Sumner can't sing, or Neil Tennant, it's not a real voice. And I hope I'm making sense here and not being too ranty. But as I always say, and you will hear me say it again and again and again, it is about being sincere. It is about being authentic. It is not about hitting every note perfectly, because there are a lot of singers out there and you listen to it and you just go, okay, well, it's a nice tune and it's yeah, it's well done and everything's well produced, but there's something missing. And one of the best examples I always use, is Lou Reed's Perfect Day. Listen to that. Listen to it critically, and you will hear, listen to it with headphones, and you will hear it's such a flawed song. Just a perfect day. You know, he just, especially listening to it, you know, now, and you listen to it, you go, oh my God, it's so unfinished sounding. It almost sounds like a demo, but the emotion in that song is brilliant. And then another comparison I want to make is they'll take someone like Susan Boyle, who is another one of the great voices, thank God, you know, thanks to the fucking X Factor. And no disrespect to Susan Boyle, bless her. And they go, okay, let's get Susan Boyle to do a cover of Lou Reed's Perfect Day. And they bring in the best producers, and they bring in the choirs, and it's all epic and, you know, crescendos and keychains, and it fucking sucks. It sucks because they have just missed the point. Go back to Lou Reed. Such a perfect day. Drink sangria in the park. In fact, I'm going to do a video on that and a song analysis and tell you why I think it's a brilliant song. And yeah, Lou Reed's Perfect Day is a perfect example of sincerity, and where there are so many flaws in that performance, but it becomes perfect. And I'm sure everyone watching this can get what I'm saying. And bringing it back to Bernard Sumner, I mean, even I remember I had a girlfriend, this is back when Exciter came out, Dave Vaughn, they did that Live in Paris. I was watching the Live in Paris DVD. And when Dave Vaughn came on going, we're the honeyest boys, and he did this kind of gorilla thing, he was like, really, rah! And I had this girlfriend at the time, and she was watching this with me, and she said, God, this guy can't sing. And okay, he was very out of tune and a little bit ropey in the beginning of the concert, but the point I'm trying to make is, as I tried to explain to her, she wasn't getting it because she was a fucking Westlife fan. And that's probably why she liked me back in those days, because I used to look like a boy band member back in those days. But anyway, we're not together anymore for obvious reasons, because she's a Westlife fan and she slagged off Dave Vaughn. So, out of here! So, can Bernie Sumner sing? That's up to you to decide. What you cannot deny is that New Order have been tremendously successful and tremendously influential. And it's something I realized more and more, you know, since I started this channel. You know, we speak about Depeche Mode a lot. I was surprised to see how much respect there is for New Order. Now, I do recognize New Order as a great band and everything, but I was just really shocked to see, you know, how people really rate them really, really highly. You know, I've always recognized New Order as a very influential, you know, a great band. But as I say, through doing this channel, you know, I've been pleasantly surprised to see that New Order are actually a lot bigger in terms of, as far as my community are concerned, a lot bigger than I thought myself. Anyway, guys, I hope I've made the point in typical Vaughn style, just going off on tangents and random stuff. But anyway, that's why we're here. Please, if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If this is your first time to this channel and I haven't scared you off, I would like to welcome you with open arms and invite you to please hit that subscribe button and join this community. You can also join the Vaughn George Facebook group, where we take the content from this channel and we discuss it in further detail on the Facebook group there. It is a closed group, so please request to join, and my admins will grant you access. That's it for now, my friends. Please take part in that video series I'm doing, which is all about the most iconic frontman in electronic music history. I would love to get your opinions on that. It's going to be a lot of fun once we get the results and we do the final countdown video. My friends, as always, lots of love to you. Thank you so much. Be safe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Adios.